Hey there, Marina Orms here, and it is February 19th. And I thought today would be a good day to focus on Pluto once again, one of our favorite topics here. Pluto, the planet of transformation that moves so slowly through the zodiac, is now currently in the final degree of Capricorn, and it's getting ready to head into Aquarius. I've spoken quite a bit about what that looks like, what to expect as Pluto goes into Aquarius. See my videos on Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto going into Aquarius, and what to expect as it makes that momentous shift into a new sign where Pluto will be for 19 to 20 years. And so we have had the planet Pluto in Capricorn since 2008. Pluto does move so very slowly that it creates kind of a background theme of what it is we are experiencing, working through, kind of the qualities of the energy of the times that we're in. And it's very significant to have Pluto now in the very last degree of Capricorn. So each sign is comprised of 30 degrees inside that sign. And so for 12 signs, you have 360 degrees, which makes a circle, right? One of our favorite things from middle school geometry, the 360-degree circle. So each sign is one section of that circle. Each sign is made up of 30 degrees. Pluto is taking its time, obviously, to move through the degrees of Capricorn, and is now in it's the 30th degree of the sign of Capricorn. We would also call it 29 degrees Capricorn because we began with 0. But anyway, so in that final degree, Pluto went into the 30th degree, the 29 degrees Capricorn on February 11th, and will stay in that final degree until March 23rd when it shifts into Aquarius. So it's very significant, the final degree of a sign, and it's kind of a crisis point. It's also kind of a completion point, right? So it's the end of a sign. A planet has been making its way, just like, if you went on a cross-country journey on foot, right, it would take you a long time, and there are many things that you would see along the way, many adventures you would have. You would be different by the time you reach the end of a cross-country journey on foot, right? As some of the anyways, some people have done before. Anyway, it's a long journey, and you can obviously imagine that there would be many adventures on the way, and the stories you would have to tell, the stories of adventures, of near misses, of survival, of loss, all the stories that have happened along that journey are also something that Pluto has been going through Capricorn, gaining those stories. And so we collectively, humanity has been on the planet as Pluto has gone through Capricorn since 2008, making its way on this long journey. And it reaches the end, right? And so what happens at the end in that final degree of Capricorn is a lot of things that are kind of a culmination of that Capricorn energy, a completion of that Capricorn energy, a setting the stage for what comes next, kind of a coming to awareness of what it is we have to work on in the next phase of things. Also a reckoning with what we have accomplished. You know, where have we gone on this journey? What have we learned? Who have we become? And how do we want to recognize that? So honor that. And have the proper respect for who we've become and where we've been. So this is going to be, in this case, thinking about the qualities of Capricorn. So Pluto, again, you know, all planets go through all the signs. For instance, the moon travels through Capricorn once every 27 days, and it's going to go through that 29th degree of Capricorn every time it passes through Capricorn, but it's blipping through so quickly, right? So it's a different feeling when the moon blips through the last degree of Capricorn or any sign. It is also this energy of completion of that energy, but it's only lasting, you know, in the case of the moon, a few minutes before it shifts into the next degree. So in the case of Pluto, it's almost 6 weeks that it's going to be in that final degree of Capricorn. So what's happening is that we have this long period of time of reckoning, of coming to terms with, you know, what have we accomplished in a Capricornian sense. So Capricorn is about systems, about structures. You've heard me say this before if you follow me. Systems, structures, institutions, how we do things, how we organize, things like government, things like healthcare, things like how we view the family. All of those things are like systems that we have, ways of organizing our understanding of things. And as Pluto comes through, Pluto is the great transformer. It's going to tear up the old, ask you, you know, hey, do you still want this? Like, look at this. It's like cleaning out your closet, right? Is this still working for you? Do you want to keep this? And so it's going to be about things like government, healthcare, you know, what needs to be updated, what needs to be upgraded, what do we want that system to look like? Financial systems, what other kind of systems, like educational systems, political systems, all kinds of systems that we collectively share in terms of how we operate, what the rules are, how we understand things to be. And so what's happening is that we are grappling with the things we've learned, the ways that we've constructed the structures that we are counting on, depending on. We're thinking about, and it's coming, you know, kind of forcing its way into our awareness of who has the power, right? So some power struggles over what is going to be the right way to do this, what is going to be the best way, how do we want to set the rules, how do we want to define the limitations going forward, the categories, you know, how things are going to work, how things are going to operate. And so what do we want that to look like? Who's going to decide? And so you can see you know, some struggles over the narrative. And we've got Mars in Gemini, you know, that's another subject, but Mars being in Gemini for an extended period of time, 7 months, we have this energy of struggles over information. You know, who's gonna define the narrative? Who's gonna say how things work and what it is and how it operates? Is it going to be the Republicans? Is it going to be the Democrats? Who's going to be the one to kind of stake their claim on this is how the world is going to work and this is how things are going to be going forward? And so those struggles come really into unavoidable kinds of awareness forms, surfacing in ways that we can't ignore them. And so those kinds of struggles over what are we going to do? Who are we going to be? How are we going to choose to do this? How are we going to go forward? And what does it mean for who we are going to be in the future? And this could be even as basic as something coming up in your family or in your workplace, you know, struggles over who decides, who's in charge, what is the narrative, what is the way we're going to do this, the way we're going to operate, how we're going to define the things that we're dealing with. So those kinds of things come up with Pluto in the final degree of Capricorn. And it's a struggle because, in part, because it's a reckoning with what it is we've put our efforts into, all of this journey that we've been on since 2008 that I've been talking about in these videos. And by the way, if you're interested in this topic, there's much more, again, you know, on the subject of Pluto going into Aquarius, what Pluto and Capricorn has meant. So this journey that we're on since 2008 has taken us, you know, along the road, along the path of discovery of what some of the issues are, some things coming to our awareness, surfacing in ways that we can't avoid. And that is Pluto, the transformer, Pluto, the destroyer, Pluto, the Lord of Hades, coming through and saying, you know, you thought things were going to be easy, but we're going to push you to get really clear about who you are. And that's the essence of what has been happening with Pluto in Capricorn, but also that we're really, you know, it's really surfacing, bubbling up to the surface. It's like it's come to a boil, and it's really kind of active, and there's an agitation coming up with Pluto in that final degree of Capricorn as it gets ready to shift into Aquarius, where things will feel different. So that, and then we've got the 0 degrees of Aquarius, and that will be another different kind of experience. But right now, so I'm all about the astrology of unshakable self-care. So what do we do with this? How do we make the most of it? And one of the ways that we can make the most of it is by understanding what's going on, having a framework in which we can talk about it, having an astrological language that helps us be able to wrap our minds around what is going on and not just feel powerless or like victims of, you know, things, forces that are happening in the world that are simply taking away, and don't feel like we have that creative input into, because of course we do have creative input, and that is what this is about. It's about our choices, always about our choices. And so how we choose to show up, who we choose to be as we grapple with these, you know, battles for power, battles for control over how is it going to be, how are we going to define this, what are the rules going to be, what is the system going to be that we are going to operate under. And so thinking about what is your role in that? How does it impact you? How is it showing up in your life? What are the things that might be showing up in your life as a power struggle or a reckoning with what you've created? What is the construct? What is the structure that has been established? And, you know, it's like, this is the chance to really choose to align yourself fully with the structure, put yourself behind it, say, you know, this is what I believe in, this is me and what I'm about, and choosing to get both feet in with going forward for the future that you want to create, and knowing what that's based on and why that's important to you. These are key, essential, core questions so Pluto in Capricorn is about the essence, the very, very core of things. Pluto itself is about a deeper truth. It is about that raw, real, vulnerable depth of who we are and our experiences. You know, it's not about control. It is about truth. And so accessing that truth, and then you put that in the sign of Capricorn, and how are you going to take that truth and apply it into, by creating a system, by creating a structure, by contributing to, you know, your version of the world you want to live in, and say, okay, you know, I'm going to put my energy, my creative instincts, my creative skills, my effort, you know, my energy, my efforts into these creative opportunities that Pluto is bringing in Capricorn, because Capricorn is the foundation. So when a seed sprouts, you're gonna see the beautiful little green leaves coming up out of the earth. But what's happening under the surface is the roots are establishing themselves, and that is what the plant needs to survive long term, right? So think about Pluto in Capricorn as those roots going really deep, and choosing that ground that you are going to put those roots down deep into. And so that could be choosing a place to be, a family. It could be a job, a project, a area that you want to be involved in your community, something you want to contribute, some volunteer time, some activism, some again, some of your creative efforts. And so it's about helping those roots to deepen and strengthen. So what is it you care about? And this time period with Pluto in this final degree of Capricorn is really like asking you to look at that. Okay, is this really what you want? And how is it going, right? So it's really a reflection of, how is it going? What does it look like? Where, you know, where you've been putting your energy and your resource and your choices. It's kind of like a, you know, let's really come to terms with what this is and what it is manifesting for you in your life. And do you like that? Do you want more of that? Do you want to choose to continue on that path as Pluto shifts into Aquarius? And this new infusion of the lightning bolts of innovation and new energy and thinking about the future, and new ways of thinking outside the box, new solutions, new possibilities. As that comes in, you have to know where you are, and you have to know who you are. And so when those lightning bolts of insight come, if you are not grounded, if you have not established, this is who I am, this is how I operate, this is what's important to me, and here is why. If you have not established those things, then that lightning bolt is gonna just knock you right down. Whereas if you have those strong roots, like the tree, if your foundations are deep and strong and clear, and you know who you are, because you're coming from a place of truth, where you have reckoned with yourself, where you have done those difficult self-reflections to ask, you know, what is important to me? Who am I? Why am I doing this? Do I want to continue? Is this right for me? When you're coming from a place of being grounded in what is true and right and important for you, that lightning bolt of insight is going to come, and it's going to just help you take off. It is going to bring in the new possibilities, the new solutions, the like, here's how that could go. You weren't expecting this. It's the lightning bolt of insights. It's the aha moment, the epiphany that is going to say, here is how that is going to work, that you never could have imagined before. So to set yourself up for that Pluto and Aquarius energy, You have to know who you are, where you belong, and to be grounded in your truth, in what is true and right for you. And this time period of Pluto going through the final degree of Capricorn is going to bring that up. It is a crisis point. It can be a crisis point, right? It can also be a tumultuous feeling. Interestingly enough, the Fukushima earthquake in Japan that destroyed the earthquake destroyed the Fukushima nuclear reactor. Huge, devastating disaster, right? And it happened when Neptune was in the last degree, the 29th degree of Aquarius, just before Neptune went into Pisces. So that's a whole different energy that we're talking about. But this was back in 2011. And but the energetic qualities, you can kind of see how this disaster happened because it was a reckoning of this earthquake energy that is Aquarius, Neptune going through Aquarius. Again, just as a reminder, in the way that I use astrology, I don't use it to predict. I can't say, oh, there's going to be an earthquake that happens or anything. We don't know. I mean, maybe somebody approaches it that way and that's their, they can explain how they do what they do. But what I do is more thinking about what are the qualities of this final degree. And so there can be a feeling of a crisis, a reckoning, an awakening, an awareness of where you've been on this journey, what it means for you now as you enter the next phase. And so really reflecting on where you've been, what you've become, the stories of the journeys that you've had since 2008. What have you learned? What have you discovered? What have you become? And what have you learned about yourself? And what does that mean for where you are now, how you do your life? It could be subtle internal things rather than obvious external things. Might vary from person to person, but it's that feeling of who have you become based on the experiences you've had and the adventures you've had and the things you've had to go through and learn about, and how has that shaped who you are and how you approach things. All of this comes down to, what are you grateful for? What are you really amazed by? Where have you been that you never could have imagined the journey and what that would have looked like, and how you've gotten to where you are, and just sort of reflecting on that awe, that amazement of that journey and how you have gotten here and what it means for you, and a reminder too of how you have chosen what you've chosen to be grounded in, and what structures, what systems you've chosen, what ways of organizing your understanding of the world you have chosen. During this time, we've also had Neptune in Pisces since 2011. And so when Neptune went into Pisces, we have the planet of the god of the sea, right? Neptune in the sign of Pisces, which is the great ocean of being. So Pisces, I don't want to say, Pisces is the modern ruler of Neptune. So the energies are very aligned. They're very vast. They're transcendent. They're spiritual rather than physical. So there's this sense of also the potential for getting confused, losing your way, being in the fog, kind of getting lost in a story that may or may not be real, may or may not be right. Again, there's this reckoning with Pluto and Capricorn, okay, how are you going to do that here on the earth plane in your life, right? In this physical life that we do day to day, the ways that we show up and the experiences that we have. So that choice that we have about what is reality, what do we want to invest in, where do we want to put all of our eggs, which basket do we want to put all of our eggs into, and is it really grounded? Does it really have roots, or is it just sort of an imaginative delusion, a fantasy? And so the potential to lose ourselves in those alternate realities that aren't grounded is also there, and there could be a reckoning around that. And one of the things I'm thinking about is sort of cult-like thinking, or getting lost down a rabbit hole of thinking that might be disconnected from sort of the ordinary consensus reality. And so we want to be aware of that possibility, and check our thinking, right? And ask ourselves, what is this grounded in? Who else is believing this? Where did it come from? And where's it going to is another thing. Just checking in with ourselves about what we're thinking, what we're believing in, and who that might be serving, and is it really in our own truth, in our own best interest? So these are important questions for all of us to keep checking in with and asking ourselves, so that we don't go off the deep end and get lost in delusional thinking, or get confused about who we are and forget. And we're going to have those moments where we do feel confused, but coming back to our truth, what's important to us and why, and our connections to the people we love and what we're grateful for, and all of that. So there's so much to be grateful for, and we really have this creative potential to choose as we go forward, to choose what we're going to invest in, what we're going to put our energy, our resources into, our time into. And I'm not talking about just things, I'm talking about also like meaning, like your children, your grandparents, like what's important to you, what is important in your life, and how does that connect to the choices that are in front of you. And any, if you are confronted with something that is a crisis, or is bringing up, some of this energy bubbling up of reckoning, of really having to make a choice, looking back at what you've invested in and whether it's working for you, and just asking yourself, does this feel right? Does it feel true? Am I willing to trust it? And then we have to trust ourselves, right? Because if we are not in that place of trust, we can get overwhelmed by the tsunami waves that might be energetically coming over us, and when the emotion comes up. So sometimes the emotion feels so big that, we feel like we failed, or it's a disaster, or we really invested ourselves in the wrong thing. And to trust yourself, to say, no, I have invested in this because it's true and right. And to have that, remember that your roots are deep, and it's going to hold you even as the wave washes over, and eventually that wave will recede, and you will still be who you are, and there will be something new there to discover. Maybe even the wave will have washed away something that can release more clarity, right? Reveal more clarity, and help you see the way forward. So hopefully that is helpful to you, as you, and sometimes it's just validating just to hear that this is happening. We have almost 6 weeks here of Pluto in the final degree of Capricorn, really bringing a reckoning, really asking us to connect with what is true and right, what we have chosen and why we have chosen that, and whether we want to stay on that path or make a switch. maybe you need to be on a different train, right? So there's some opportunities to look at that and what it means for you and your life. And I hope that's been helpful for you. Really fascinating subject to think about. What does it mean for a planet to be in the final degree, especially the outer planets? It means a completion. It means sort of a preparation for making a shift into a new energy. There can be a feeling of agitation or uncertainty, right? As we are releasing, or in the process of releasing what it is we haven't put our energy and time into, this grand adventure and journey that we've been on. And so we're coming to terms with, we are releasing, we are acknowledging, we are recognizing what we're grateful for, what we believe in, who we are, and what we want to place our trust in. So those are some themes of Pluto in the final degree of Capricorn, and we've got this up for us until March 23rd, when Pluto goes into Aquarius. And then fun, Pluto will stay in Aquarius briefly, and then it will go retrograde again back into that final degree of Aquarius again. So this is not the end. We will have more time in this final degree of Capricorn later this year. And so we've this again, it's a background quality. It's something we're working through, moving through as it sorts itself out and brings some of these recognition of what we've created into awareness, along with an opportunity to confirm what it is we want to continue to invest in and create going forward. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I am Marina Orms, the founder of Astrology Heals at astrologyheals.com. I thank you so much for subscribing to this channel, because it really helps me and supports my work, and it's free. And I really enjoy all of you being here. I am so honored to be on this journey with you. So let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. I am here every day with the Astrology of Unshakable Self-Care, telling you where the moon is and more, and what it means for you and how to make the most of it, which is why we are here in the bigger sense, as well as the more everyday sense. All right. Thanks for being here. I will see you next time. Bye for now.